welcome or welcome back. I'm so glad you stopped by to hang out with me a little bit and hear about what I've been up to with regards to my knitting. So today should be hopefully a pretty short episode. I will just be doing the typical knitting podcast thing. I have a couple of small FOs and then I have some whips to talk about. So let's just jump right in. Okay, so I don't know, I guess because I've got a pretty big project on my needles, the Bountiful sweater, which I will talk about later in the whip section, that is causing me to want to cast on small things so that I can see some progress being made. I don't know if anybody else does that, but yeah, I need to feel some progress when I'm in this never-ending slog of a sweater. So, with that in mind, I have a couple of dishcloth projects. Let's see, I am a Picks ambassador, which just means that I share posts that align with a menu of options that Picks offers every month, and through that I earn points which I can then exchange for free products on their website. And their yarn of the month for August is Dishie, which is their alternative to sugar and cream. You know, it's their dishcloth cotton. And so I decided that I should, because of that, I wanted to have some content to post about Dishie. And I also have a drawer full of Dishie yarn, and cotton, that kind of cotton is not my favorite. So I'm working through the stash. Also, for they dropped new colors of Dishie during the summer sale, and I was very tempted, and then I stopped myself because I'm like, wait, you have a drawer full of Dishie that you need to use up before you can buy any other Dishie that you probably also will not love to work with. And it's not anything against Dishie, it's just I don't really enjoy working that kind of cotton at the gauge that you want to work it at to have a dishcloth that will remain alive. But anyway, that was a long ramble to say I wanted to make something with the Dishie that I had on hand, and so I did. And so I made this doily looking dishcloth. So this was a free pattern from actually Sugar and Cream / Bernat Designs, and the pattern, it's a free download that you can get off, I think, maybe I had to go to their website. I found it on Ravelry, went to their website, downloaded it, and it's a one page, and it is crammed full of text, multiple columns, and I was like, what am I looking at? It was one of those very old-fashioned looking patterns where they would try to squish everything onto a yarn label or something. Anyway, there was a crochet pattern on there. Anyway, I finally zeroed in on what I thought was the knitting pattern that I wanted, and I feel like I followed the directions and got to the end, and it didn't say sew it up, because it was all knit flat. There was never an instruction to join in the round, unless I just missed it multiple times reading through it. And so I got to the end, and I had I could see it was going to be a round shape, but it was not joined together. It was just open. And there are some dishcloth patterns where you do have to join up the two pieces that you have knit in the round. I've knit a bunch like that. So I kind of thought that's what we were doing. But then I was looking at it, I was like, mine does not look like the version online, because this is garter stitch on mine, and all of that part is stockinette in the real one. Yeah, and that was where I was like, I must have like missed an instruction. Anyway, I kind of think it was the pattern though. I think the pattern was missing the instruction to join in the round, which maybe everybody else was smart enough to figure that out because I didn't see other people commenting on that fact, but I was not that smart. And so mine is, yeah, more of a garter stitch doily rather than a stockinette stitch one, but it will still be plenty functional. And just to show you how I thought it was for my Dishie post that I made on Instagram, I was looking at how my Dishie dishcloths have held up over the years. So this is actually the first dishcloth that I ever made with Dishie, and it is from the same like ball of yarn. I don't know, it was from the same dye lot. Same time I bought the yarn for this one, that's what this came off of, because it is deep stash. So I looked up on Ravelry and I made this in 2018. So 2018 to 2026, this is how it would have looked originally, and this is how it looks now. I feel like that's actually pretty good for almost a decade, and I am not at all precious about my dishcloths. I mean, I don't put bleach on them, but you know, I wash them on the sanitize cycle. They are used hard as dishcloths, dish rags. Who knows what my kids have cleaned up with this. So yeah, I feel like it holds up pretty well. Now, I have heard in the Nitpicks Lovers forum, somebody made a post recently about Dishie, and she was kind of just wondering if she had gotten a bad batch or if this is how Dishie is now, but like she had used a recent ball of Dishie and it had pilled horrifically. The item that she had made from it, like it did look bad. And so that was a little concerning. So I have not bought any for, I don't know, probably since 2020. But yeah, like in the past, I would wholeheartedly have recommended it. Now I'm like, I don't know if something has changed or what, but there are some very cute new colors up available. So that was one thing I made. And then I made another one. I thought this one was really cute. I was looking, I made the other one and then I was still looking at the dishcloth patterns on Ravelry as you do, and this one popped up and it's actually a Nitpicks pattern. I guess they're doing some kind of, I don't know if it's like a 52 weeks of dishcloths or just a bunch of free ones, but anyway, this was a pretty recent new release that they put out, and they had it in a really cute like green and coral combo, but I did navy, and this is like a multi yellow color that they had, like a yellow tonal. I think this yellow is actually my oldest Dishie. I just don't have any cloths made from it because I gave them to my mom. But I made some cute dishcloths in blue and yellow that had like a bunch of short rows. It was called the Lizard Ridge dishcloths, and that was a really fun pattern. Anyway, so yeah, made those. This one's not been used yet, so it's all bright and shiny and new. But it was a kind of a neat pattern to work. And like, I don't know about you guys, but I always remember whatever I was like watching or listening to or whatever at the time that I was working on something, and we were watching that new Netflix, it's not a documentary, like the drama series about the Pan Am flight that crashed over Lockerbie, Scotland. That happened when I was a kid, so I really didn't know anything about it. It was a really sad story. Anyway, so I thought the drama was good, but it was sad. All right, so those are two things, and like I said, I'm doing really small things so I can get quick wins over here. Let's see. Next, I made a hot water bottle cover. So I got, I feel like I started seeing the hot water bottle like craze about 3 years ago, and I was like, well, that seems fun. And so I got the hot water bottle, and then it has literally sat for 2 years at least. At least I've had it. And I have used it a few times, but it was never very comfortable because I didn't have a cover to go with it, and I never did get around to making anything. And yeah, so I finally decided I needed to get that done. So I made a cover for it. Let's see, the pattern that I looked at for this was just called Hot Water Bottle Cover by Tabetha Moe. It was free on Ravelry. She has like a whole YouTube video tutorial if you need your handheld step-by-step visually all the way through, but it's a very simple pattern. I did not follow the numbers in that pattern. I was more just looking at the construction, and so I just like kept trying mine on and increasing until I got to where it seemed like it should be based on how it was fitting over the hot water bottle. And then I just did this like random stripe pattern. This is all made with Nutiden that is left over from my Opa cardigan that I made 2 years ago, some number of years ago, out of Nutiden. I ordered myself Nutiden for my birthday one year because I had heard about it and was really interested to try unspun for the first time, and it is very soft. And yeah, I love actually the feeling. I think it's going to be great as a hot water bottle cover. I love the cardigan that I made out of it. It is a pain to work with though because it breaks so easily, but yeah, just knitted this up in a little over a day, off and on, working on it. And I still have like maybe between 300 and 350 grams, I think, of this green, which is actually a really pretty green. The thing about Nutiden is that it's, a bunch of colors of fiber sort of put together, spun together, I guess. I don't know. It creates a very heathered, deep colorways, and no two colorways are ever the same because it's all like small batch produced. Anyway, so I need to come up with something to do with it because I have enough. Certainly I would have enough to do something with it like larger if I held it with something and just held it single. If I hold it doubled, it won't go as far. I don't know if I could get a vest out of it, but maybe like a shawl or something. I don't know. I need to look at it because it is very beautiful yarn that is very special, and I bought as a special treat to myself, and so I need to figure out some way to use it up. Yeah, so there was that. Oh, that's also I needed that as an entry to the fair. So fair season is coming, and I am working on getting all of my items together, and there's like a home goods section, and I do not feel like my dishcloths are really all that interesting or worthy of being entered. And not that the hot water bottle cover is all that special, but something to enter there. And it might win depending on how few other entries there are. Yeah, so there is that. All right, so that's all of my finished objects. But I do have a few whips. So first up, we have my Calm Night Cami, which was just cast on the last time I talked to you guys. So this is a pattern by Lilly Kate France. I am knitting the size 4, and the last time that I cast it on, the last time I filmed, I had just cast it on and done like just a couple of rows in the back. And as you can see, I have got it joined in the round and like that much knit down. And so I'm just about where I need to be to start the bust start. So this is just a very simple little cami, as the name would indicate. It's gonna have a V-neck. It's gonna have double knit treatments around the armholes and the neck. It looks really, really deep right now. And it is a little deep on the sides, but hopefully, it seems like for most people, it does not, like it doesn't show their bras. So I'm trusting once we get the double knitting on there, this is gonna cinch up and it will fit like it's supposed to. A deep armhole, but not too deep. And Lily Kate France is really good with the details, and I am hitting row gauge on this, so I am feeling pretty confident, or not concerned that that is gonna be a problem, even though it looks super duper deep at the moment. So like I said, I'm just about ready for the bust darts. Lily Kate France she's one of those few designers who does include bust darts in her patterns when she can, and so that is wonderful. However, the bust dart instructions that she gives would only result in like 1 extra inch. And that is not sufficient. I really need closer to 2.5 extra inches of length added into my tops, and so I'm going to be doing my own bust dart. So I'll start them where she says to start them, which actually should be hopefully, you know, where I would start them anyway. You typically start the short rows for your bust darts at the apex of your bust, so that's like here when you get about there. So in theory, that should be about 1.5 inches below where the join is for the underarm. So yeah, I'll use my own. And I have been putting in the description notes a link to my little Excel or Google Sheets cheat sheet that I made that will do the calculations for you if any of you guys are fellow busty folks and can benefit from the short rows. I've set up a little calculator. It's based on Isolde Teague's the way that she does the short row bust darts, as described in Little Red in the City. So I always recommend that book. So get a hold of that if you are somebody who could benefit from bust darts. But yeah, I set up that sheet and made that available if you would like to make a copy for yourself, and then you can input your numbers. You have to do it every time for whatever garment you're working on because your gauge changes and the number of stitches and so forth. So it has to be like redone every time, but the formulas are there just so that you don't have to do the arithmetic yourself. I am using Knit Picks Comfy Fingering, which is 75% Pima cotton and 25% acrylic. That's actually pretty close to the original yarn that Lily Kate France used. She used a much more available, cheaper yarn than she does in many of her projects. And yeah, so I was like, well, that's nice that is a very similar swap. Let's see. Don't think that there's really anything else that I need to say about that one. Oh, because I probably won't remember this when I get it finished, since it will, who knows when that will be, but she includes tick sheets for this one. So because there is a lot of like at the same time, you know, you're increasing the underarm and the neck shaping, like you're doing that, and you're not doing it all steadily. It's not like every other round. And so she has a tick sheet where you can just mark off line by line. And sometimes I don't use those because sometimes I feel like they're unnecessary, like they're more hand-holdy than what I need. However, for this particular one, I did feel like it was really beneficial and I did use it. So I really appreciated that she had that in there for, I think it was for the back and for the front, definitely for the front though, where you're doing the V-neck neck shaping at the same time as the underarms. Very helpful. So love that. I am rapidly becoming just a Lily Kate makes stan, I think. I pretty much like everything she does. I love her attention to details. I love that she doesn't just make potato sacks, but a lot of her stuff is more fitted or has shaping. I mean, it may still have a lot of positive ease, but it has like some shaping in there. So it works, I think, better for curvier bodies than a lot of what is being produced right now. It's different than the Scandinavian style, which just unfortunately does not look very good on me, I'm afraid. So let's see, what next? One of the things that's been taking up my time, I can't show you guys because it is a secret test knit for Telly Bean Knits, but I can tell you that she is going to be hosting her Halloween fall mystery knit along, and if you like her colorwork cowls, then you will definitely want to be on the lookout for that. She'll be putting out information probably even in August, I would imagine, like late August, definitely the beginning of September. So be on the lookout for that if you would like to join in, because it will be good. I always love everything that Stephanie does, and this design is no different. So very cute. All right. Next up, we have the Cat Tarot Mittens. Is it tarot or tarot? Tarot? I don't know. I actually, I don't know that I don't know if I've heard somebody say that in real life. I don't know anybody in person who's like super into that. But you know, I've definitely know people online, but because of that, I've read it and not heard it so much. So I have just finished up this mitten this morning. It's actually, you know, I should show it on the other hand because then I wouldn't have to turn my hand. If I can just, well, now my hand is distorting it, but you can see down here, it says the cat. I'm gonna have to go back and do a little duplicate stitch there and fix that up a little bit, but overall, I think it looks okay. Obviously, still got a thumb to go. Cute, cute, cute. All right, I can't keep it focused. Let's see. So this is a pattern by Brianna Arlene. I think she released this last fall and I thought it was very cute. I got this, I have done a lot of test knitting for Brianna, and I got this with one of my thank you free patterns for doing those test knits. And I am making this in Knit Picks Chroma. One color, the white color, is Chroma Fingering Bear, and then the dark purple is Galentine. But that is actually, it's a gradient color changing yarn, and it was such a long section and there really wasn't enough of it in there for us to get too much color changing. Like there is a little bit, it definitely gets lighter purple towards the top. So we start out kind of a reddish purple and then we end up with more of a purple, and it's the ball is about to go into a more blue purple. I haven't decided yet what I'm gonna do for the second mitt. I'm thinking about digging into my ball and actually like going into the purple section, but going kind of the other direction, starting with the deeper, more violet plum color, and then I'm saying that backwards. Starting with the lighter, more purple color, and then moving towards the darker color, and put that at the top. I may do that because otherwise I'm afraid they're just gonna look like random mismatched mitts. Because if this one's this color and this one is a little bit purple, like half purple and half orange, I'm afraid that's not really gonna make sense. So I will probably, as I'm talking through this, I'm thinking, yes, I definitely need to dig in there and pull from a different color. So I am making these also for the fair because I have made a bunch of mittens this year, but I don't have any of them. They have all gone away. So in order to have something to put in the fair, to enter in the fair, I am knitting these up. And then I will probably, rehome these once I'm finished with them for the fair because I already have mittens and there's only so many pairs you can use. So this pattern starts with corrugated rib down here, and then you go into color work, and Brianna has set up in the pattern ladder back jacquard. So the pattern plans for you to use ladder back jacquard. I mean, you can always use ladder back jacquard anytime you want to in your knitting, but most patterns like don't have it set for you, so you just figure out where do you want to set your ladders, and then you keep track of those. So it is kind of nice. I think this is the first pattern I've ever had that actually like set those up and they're marked in the chart, so you should always know when you're coming to one of your little ladders, so that you don't get it mixed up with a regular stitch. But yeah, so that's nice. If if you've never worked ladder back jacquard before, this would be a good pattern to try it with. I don't know that I was gonna say, I don't know that we necessarily even need the ladder back jacquard on this one. However, there are some rows like this white one here, and there's like a purple one in there, main color and contrast color, where it's basically all the way across the mitt. And you would not want to have to carry your yarn all the way across. Like there's some where there's almost nothing on one side of the mitten, using that yarn. And so yeah, it probably is necessary for those. I don't know that you would have to do it throughout the entire thing. Like in the cat face, yes, like there are some rows where it's really helpful to have it, and then there's some rows like at the bottom and at the top where it's helpful, but otherwise like there's really not any huge long floats. So it's sometimes I was like, I feel like this ladder back jacquard might be like more trouble than it's worth, which you can add those in and take them out wherever you want to. Just because you start using them in a pattern doesn't mean you have to like keep them in all the way. So if the next time I do it, I might, like on my next mitt, I might not even do the ladder back jacquard. Like I might just do it in the few places where I think it would be helpful. I'll have to think about that. Let's see, somewhere in here, I do not know what I did, but I got off a row somehow. I don't know if I started something a row early, but basically my thumb pattern was offset from this pattern. I couldn't figure out what was happening, and then I was just like, oh, there's something, I don't know. I couldn't figure out why my thumb pattern wasn't matching up to my back pattern, and I'm still not 100% sure why that was, but I suspect it has to do with whatever I had messed up, because I got to the top and I still needed to do one more row on the back compared to the front. And yes, the chart is numbered. I don't ever pay attention to the numbers. Like I just am marking off, row by row as I go. So I think I must have missed a row. I either missed a row on this side, which I can't see if I did because my pattern looks correct, or I did 2 rows somehow in a row, like 2 of the same rows on the front. But my front and my back did not match up, so I had to like add an extra little row on the back in order to get that to match back up. But if you don't know what it's supposed to look like, you can't tell that I messed that up. Yeah, anyway, so this took about a day and a half of working on that off and on. So hopefully I will get the next one knocked out pretty quickly. Let's see, and then we have my Bountiful sweater. Slow progress here. I guess I'll stand up. So since I last saw you, it now has the hood part knitted. It still needs to be put down, like it's going to be attached to the front. And then there's a zipper that will go in here to, you know, close that up. And I have picked up for one sleeve and started on my lateral braid, and then I've knit down to here, and I'm not going to try this on for you guys because I was kind of in the middle of a row on my sleeve, and so I don't want to mess myself up. But I definitely have as much length as I need on the body. I stopped and put that on hold because I may end up actually ripping some of it back out, because it's long enough that it's, you know, it is part way down my butt, and I'm not sure that I want it that long. So I decided I would put the bottom on hold and put on my collar and my sleeves, because both of those things definitely can impact how something hangs on you ultimately. And yeah, so I'm gonna get these parts done and then decide whether I want to keep it as long as it is right now, or if I need to rip that back a little. This whole section here is extra. So the pattern as written just goes to here. Maya in her sample did knit this section. This is not a complete section, but she knit a complete section because she just wanted hers to be really, really big and cozy. But I'm just not sure I want mine to be that long. So yeah, so this one's going along. The top part is not finished because I'm waiting on a tutorial that has not been added yet that shows how this is going to be tacked down. There's going to be a crochet chain that will attach this to, like, around the collar. But it's going to be so squishy and soft and very cozy once it's finished. So I had said before, like, I don't think that, you know, that this is definitely not my optimal choice of yarn for this make, because the Tweedy bits kind of obscure the pattern. And one of you all watching was like, yeah, I agree, it's probably not the best, which I still, you know, stand by that it's not the best. However, I was looking at this in the bathroom mirror and I was like, actually, it doesn't look that bad. I think this is one of those cases where it may actually look worse on camera. Like, you know how sometimes like dye lot issues show up worse on the camera than they do in real life? I think that the Tweedy bits may be showing up more on camera and making this look more muddied than it actually does in real life. So that's good for me in that, you know, I'm putting all this work into it, that it looks okay in person. So anyway, that is my Bountiful sweater. It is coming along. And oh, well, I'm thinking about it. This is not a knitting finished object, but I made myself a skirt. Knocking stuff off my wall. Yes, the other day, my youngest and I went and dropped some stuff off at our favorite thrift shop, like donations, and of course we had to look while we were there, and they had, I could tell it was a big yardage of this mustard yellow bottom weight fabric, and I was like, that would be perfect for pants or a skirt. Like I definitely could have made pants out of it. It's I think it's got some linen probably to it. It definitely feels natural. Cotton, linen, something, probably some kind of a mix would be my guess. And you know, you never know when you're buying something from the thrift store and it's all folded up, like, is it all going to be cut up inside and unusable? But I could just tell by the weight that it felt like most of it was there, and it was. I probably actually could have made a whole dress out of this. But this this is a color that would look absolutely horrendous next to my face, but I think it's super fun. And yeah, it would have made really cute pants. But it's gonna, I don't have a tried and true pants pattern, and I'm like super rusty on my sewing. I was a garment sewer for, okay, so my journey, after I left college, I did like cross stitching for 1 year in grad school. And then I like moved over to quilting, and I got super into quilting, and I quilted all the way through grad school. Basically, I quilted until I had kids. And my oldest, who is now 17, was an extremely needy baby. Like, he was a Velcro baby, always in my lap, like always nursing. It was a really rough 3 years with him, first 3 years. But just once I had him, like, I not only didn't have the brain space, but I also like just did not have the lap to be able to do the quilting, because I would machine piece, but then I always hand quilted. And that's what I would do basically all the time. Now that I'm knitting, I would have, like, in my past life, I would have been hand quilting. And so I stopped being able to do that, but I had my sewing machine. And so then I got into making just little like children's clothes. And then I moved on to making garments for myself, and was really into garment sewing. And I like did, I tested some garments and things like that. And had like a pretty big handmade wardrobe. And then I got into knitting. And then once the knitting took over, like, that was pretty much it. And I have only very rarely sewed, and have not kept up with like the indie pattern, like, sewing scene. I really liked Colette Patterns back in the day. I don't think did she become Seamwork? I don't know what happened to her. Really liked her though, because she designed for curvier bodies. I remember used a larger cup size for her block, and it just made life so much easier for me. But anyway, so all of that to say, I am quite rusty with my sewing. I've done a few little projects here and there since I took up knitting, but not a lot. Anyway, so I used a tutorial, a YouTube tutorial for just a like basic gathered skirt, and oh goodness. Like, she shows you the basics, but like there's a lot of steps left out. Like, there's no information on like when to finish your seams or anything like that. And so I was like trying to remember like what's the order that I would finish things in. Anyway, all that to say, it does not look beautiful on the inside by any means. I had sent a picture to my mom, and she was like, "Oh, are you going to enter that into the fair?" And I'm like, "No, I'm not. I would be embarrassed." Because she's like, "Well, you never know. There might just be one person in the category, and so you would just win by fiat." And I'm like, "No, I would be embarrassed for anybody to see this and think that I thought that it was worth entering into the fair." So I have standards, and this is not up to it, but it's fine on the outside. And I did finish it with this cute bias tape around the edges. I always like finishing hems with like a little bit of lace or bias tape or whatever. And and my bias tape, I have a whole collection that, again, I just like buy that when I see it in the thrift store, which I guess is a good thing, because I saw like some people saying on the internet that Wrights has gone under, that like that they make all the like finishing items, like the bias tape and thread and things like that. I don't know if that's true or not, but anyway, if it is, then I definitely need to continue buying up when I see bias tape and such things in the thrift stores. But yeah, there's a tip for you if you are into sewing and also thrifting. Be on the lookout for that. Okay, yeah, so I made that, and hoping to get some good wear out of it this fall. In fact, I don't know if it would look like, it might not look terrible with my Tabetha vest. I did find, it was funny after so I didn't show any pictures in my last video or whenever it was that I finished the Tabetha vest. I did not show any modeled shots because like I just didn't like how it looked with anything that I had. But then right after I was saying, you know, that I don't have anything in my closet and I was like, I'm gonna have to sew something. I went to Aldi, and in the Aldi, we call it the Aisle of Wonders. You guys know the Aldi Aisle of Wonders, where it's just all of the random garbage that's not food. Where they put all of that. Anyway, we always like to look at the Aisle of Wonders, and we try not to buy anything. But they had just basic denim long gathered skirts on there, and I was like, I needed, and Aldi hath provided. So for $10, you know, that was cheaper, definitely cheaper and easier than buying fabric and making my own skirt. So yeah, I have a very cute little Aldi skirt that I can wear with my Tabetha vest. So hopefully I'll get modeled pictures of it at some point. And then let's see, yeah, so plans, I've just gotta I gotta get to work on that Bountiful sweater and get that off the needles. I just signed up for another test knit. Let me get my notes back. I signed up to test the Willow Bandana, which is by Linnea, I'm not sure how you say her name, Linnea Elizabeth Knits, which I had not heard of this designer, but one of you lovely viewers actually mentioned her. You said that you were working her trail tank, and I went and looked at that, and it was super cute, and it has like, it's just a tank top, but it has like a very cute little pattern and that involves stripes, and I think some kind of like eyelets is what it looks like, and bust darts. So you usually don't see bust darts with stripes because it does weird things to them, but it's actually incorporated into this pattern, and I was like, oh, I want to see what she does here. Like, I think the tank looks really cute. So I put that on my wish list immediately. And then I just signed up for her newsletter. And then in her newsletter, she had sent out this test call. So I was like, wow, that looks really cute. It's a cute little pointel design. You know, everybody's hopping on that pointel trend, and the bandana trend. Anyway, but I like both of those things. So yeah, I am gonna be testing that. I think I'm gonna use the leftover BC Garn BioBalance from my Ravenna, if I have enough of it. I need to go lay my hands on it. I'm trying to remember, like, where did I put that after I finished? So I need to do some digging around in my stash and figure out where I put it. But I think I have enough of that probably to be able to do it. Anyway, it'll just be cute, and I think it'll be pretty quick, and just a cute little bandana. And if I make it in the BioBalance, it will be that's part wool and part cotton, so hopefully it'll be a little bit more appropriate for my climate, like in the spring and summer-ish, early fall-ish time. But yeah, so I'm excited about that, and I think I'm gonna get one like complimentary pattern for doing that test knit, and so I'm gonna use it to buy that trail tank. Well, not buy it. I'm gonna use it to get that trail tank. And then that might get on my needles really soon, because yeah, I just think that's super cute, and I would love to see what she's doing there. So, but yeah, if you haven't heard of her either, you should check her out. She has some really cute things. I think she's a pretty, I think she's a newer designer. She doesn't have like a ton of designs, and you know, there's a little mix of bandanas and scarves and socks, but also some garments. So yeah, she's got some really cute stuff. So I think that's it. That's everything knitting and sewing. Yeah, so I don't know when I will be back. Next week I go back to work, and my kids go back to school, and we also have my husband's daughter is coming to town with her children, and so we're gonna get to see them next week. So I probably will not have any time to film next week, and then once I'm back at work, all bets are off. So it may be like a month or 2 or 3, who knows, maybe fall break before I'm back. We'll see. Hopefully not, but yeah, rest assured, even if I'm not on here, I will be knitting, and I hope that you also will be knitting and enjoying your time, and hopefully the fall weather that we can only hope and pray is on the way at some point. I know it won't be for a long time here. I'm not getting my hopes up. August is always the worst month weather-wise. Like, we will be at the peak of our summer. So, but I can look forward to, once I make it through this month, then it will be downhill from weather, right? Anyway, yeah, I'm just rambling now. So I will talk to you guys someday, hopefully. Bye.